Evening, folks. This is Steve, and before we get into this video tonight, I do want to post a little legal disclaimer here due to the nature of the topic, which is magical attack, attacking and cursing people here. I do want to state, of course, that consider all information to be speculation and not professional advice. Use at your own risk. The author of this video, thus myself, author and commentator of the video, is not responsible for the consequences of your actions. Success does depend on the integrity of your workings as well as initial conditions of your life and your natural abilities. Results do vary. This information is provided with the understanding that you will use it in full accordance with the laws of your country. Okay, thank you. Okay, evening everyone. This is Steve, aka Dreaming Crow, doing a quick video for you tonight. Probably actually not that quick. This is going to be a walkthrough demonstration for the Master Curse in the Magical Attack book by Gordon Winterfield. If you are familiar with it, that's great. If not, I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown what it is. Basically, it's a 12-day curse that you have to go through. Basically, it's the same thing, pretty much the same thing every day. You do work with 4 separate demons during that time. All these demons are from our Goetia spirits, and I'll give you a little bit of a rundown on them as far as what their roles are and what some of their reasons for being involved in the video for. In the ritual for. I will give a little bit of commentary in a few spots for the first couple parts of the ritual. After that, you're pretty much going to get an idea of what it is on a day-to-day basis. After a couple days, you use each demon for 3 days, a period of 3 days, and I'll go in that order as if we're actually doing the entire ritual for a 12-day period, and again I'll give you commentary on that. Of course, again, towards the end of the video, there's not going to be as much commentary except for probably towards the end of the ritual where the invocation is done. Other than that, we're just going to go ahead and jump into the video here. And before we do that, though, if you are a subscriber, I do appreciate that. Thank you. Please share the channel if you'd like. I would appreciate that very much. And if you have not subscribed already, please hit the bell down below on the screen, or it's going to be to the left or right of your screen there. Hit that subscribe button, and you will be informed of any time that I put out any new videos. I try to put a couple out, 2, 3, maybe 4 in a weekend, being that is my free time at the moment. Some weekends I have a chance to do more, some weekends I have a chance to do less. So we'll see what happens here. If you do like this video, again, I encourage you to hit the like button down below. Give me a thumbs up if you like it, or a thumbs down. Leave me a comment, and I will look to reply to that comment. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I'll see about answering those. I try to do it in a timely manner. Things that do require me a little more thought that I might have to look information up on, I'll probably do that. If it takes a little bit more time, just kind of be patient, folks, and I will try to answer all the questions that I possibly can. And without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and jump into the ritual. And first and foremost, you're going to see a candle here on my altar, black candle burning. That has no effect on the ritual whatsoever. The candle is simply here just to give me a little bit more lighting. It looks like there's like a lot of light in here, but really the only thing that's giving me like the light in here is this lamp up on this stand. This part of my book actually it needs a little bit more lighting. I don't have any more lights in here. So that's just going to give me a little more light to read from my book here. So you are going to need the book Magical Attack by Gordon Winterfield, and you will want to open to a ritual to wield power, the ritual summary. Okay, and this ritual summary is actually, or the ritual to wield power is similar to the Kabbalistic cross that was used in Demons of Magic, again by Gordon Winterfield. When he wrote this book, Magical Attack, this was the first book he had put out with the Gallery of Magic, and then he put out the Angels of Wrath, I believe, and then the Demons of Magic, like in that order. So when he wrote Demons of Wrath, he just kind of did a like added on to it, kind of more or less, and but this is what the this is what the ritual to wield power is going to be. I'm going to go ahead and walk through that and give you a commentary on that, and then we're going to do the first part of the Master Curse. Okay. When you get ready to do the ritual to wield power, you are going to want to have this sigil available to you. And yes, that is the same sigil that is used in Demons of Magic when you do the ritual opening or the core ritual. Alright, so I'm going to get some water here really quick. Now, again, this is going to be similar to the Kabbalistic cross in Demons of Magic, except that first part where you call on Uriel and Michael and Gabriel and all that's cut out. Okay, the part that you're going to basically focus on is the part where you're asked to imagine the moment at your time of birth, and then imagine a moment at your time of death, and that you're corresponding the two. Basically, you're clearing your mind at that point. So you want to make sure you have the sigil in front of you and kind of gaze at that a little bit and look into the center part. Know that you have the ability to make changes, in accordance with your will. Okay, so you want to look into that sigil just for a moment. Clear your mind. Imagine your moments at your time of birth, when you took your first breath. Not saying you're going to remember, just kind of imagine what it might have been like. Okay, and then fast forward and imagine your time of death, taking your last breath. You're exhaling that air out. I'm not asking you to imagine what your death is going to be like or what it's going to feel like or anything. Okay. Just what you need to do is correspond the two feelings. You want to clear your mind, basically. And then we're going to go into the invocation. Sorry. I am that I am. I will be what I will be. Scent of a burning rose, leaves crushed in my fingers. The blue of twilight, the taste of blood. Gravel crackles underfoot, iron into sparks, ice into air, flame into smoke, breath into rain. Ata Giboy Olam Adonai. Okay, and when you're done with that invocation, you want to look back into the sigil in the black circle. Accept and know that by reaching into this void, by reaching into this black circle, you can shape and change your future to your desire. You don't want to force yourself to believe this, okay, but you do want to become aware of its possibility. Just look at it it doesn't have to be a long time. You don't have to stare for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Once you catch that feeling that you're able to make that change, then go ahead and move forward. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and flip to the first part of the Master Curse. Okay, and this part of the Master Curse is days 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and in this case, we're going to be invoking the demon Shaz. And I'm going to go ahead and get his sigil pulled up here really quick. I still keep my digital copy of this book on my tablet. All right, so Shaz. Shaz is the 44th demon in the Goetia. Okay, amongst other abilities of his, or amongst reasons or powers to call on him, for this particular ritual, he is being used to cause an enemy to make an enemy's plans to go astray and to cause them mental confusion. Okay. At this point in the ritual for these 3 days, when you're calling on Shaz, you're basically asking him to cause them to remove their sight, their hearing, and their understanding. Now, this isn't like literal sight. We're not causing them to go blind. We're not causing them to go deaf. This is just a method of basically taking down your enemy's defenses. You're weakening them at this point. You want to make sure that when the later forms of attack come with demons like Ram and Glaciolabolas, that they're not able to witness what's happening to them at that point. That they have by that point they already have that confusion going on. They don't understand what's happening, and that's the role that Shaz is playing here in this part of the Master Curse. So again, this is done for 3 days, okay, with Shaz, and we're going on as if this is day 1 of the Master Curse, okay? So of course you want to find a time to be alone and be undisturbed. Again, you do want to have the sigil for Shaz in front of you. This is a little bit different from the Demons of Magic, okay, because in Demons of Magic you generally have another part. Let me try to find something to point at the here, I'm going to use an incense stick, and I'm going to try to get this in there a little bit better. So in Demons of Magic, you obviously have this part here in the black circle, as well as like the invocation part, and then you have 3 parts here that have the around the sigil that have the constraining angels, and then you have the attending angel, for that particular ritual. So this is a little bit different from Demons of Magic. Okay, you don't want to use that sigil because the invocation chant around here is going to be different. Okay, the invocation chant in Demons of Magic is for the attending angel in that ritual, whereas this is, specifically for Shahs. So don't think that you can use them interchangeably. Okay. In addition to this, you have the name for Shahs here in Hebrew written obviously right to left, and then the sigil for the demon. Okay. So you do want to have this sigil in front of you, and what you're going to do is look around. You're going to take in the circle with the letters in the black first. If you want to look around, if you want to do several, like 2 or 3 times around the black circle, that's fine. Once is actually sufficient. But if you want to make sure that you get them all, again, you could do it 2 times, you could do it 3 times. Okay, and when you're done at that point, starting a little bit off. Oops. No, I don't want to shut that off. You want to start at the 12 o'clock and then again move around on the sigil in the white area there. And again, you could go around the white, the inner circle 2 or 3 times if you'd like, just to make sure you get all of the letters. Make sure you absorb them all into your subconscious. Okay, and then once you've done that, you want to move your eyes to the top part of the black triangle in the sigil where it has the demon's name written in Hebrew. Okay, and every time that you say the demon's name, you speak the demon's name out loud or to yourself, you want to make sure that you are looking at the sigil of that demon. You are trying to make a connection with that demon. If you want to intone it like I am, or you want to sing it like I am, that's fine. You want to make sure that when you're saying the demon's name, think of it as if you're trying to get a hold, or you're trying to get someone's attention. Their back is to you, they're looking at something. You tap them on the shoulder, you say, hey, and you say their name. You want to get their attention, basically, is what you're doing. So we're not talking about doing it at a whisper, but we're not telling you to necessarily shout it either, okay? And you want to continue repeating the demon's name up to 5 minutes, okay? After that, you obviously want to continue on with the ritual, but if you have any type of change in the room before that 5 minutes is up, let's say you say the demon's name a couple times and you feel an pressure change in the room, it gets hot, it gets cold, there might be a breeze, you might feel a presence. I know usually when I work rituals with a lot of the demons, particularly, now there's the Master Curse, but in Demons of Magic and a couple of a number of other situations, I always get a feeling on the left side of my head, like someone is behind me on my left side, and I get it like a tingling in my brain at that point, if that makes sense. Okay. Now some demons, I feel it in the very back of my head, and a couple of them I feel it more like in the temple area, but most of the time I get it right in my left ear and the left side of my brain. Okay. Once I get that feeling, I know that I've made a connection. You move on to the ritual. You move on with the rest of the ritual. Okay. Once you make that connection, you don't have to continue saying their name. You've got their attention at that point, and then you want to move on to the invocation at that point. Okay. Now, when you read the invocation, towards the end of it, when you get to the point where you call on, when you say, I call on thee, and you mention the demon's name, again, make sure you have the demon's sigil in front of you so that you can look at it when you speak their name. Okay? So, in the names of El, Elohim, Adonai, Yeh Asher Yeh Shaddai, and Yahweh Zavaot, and by the power of Yalahiyah, Yadiel, Ladiel, and Hahadiel, I call on these shards to remove sight, hearing, and understanding from mine enemy, harming none other than. Now, obviously I pause there at the end of the invocation after I mention the demon's name and what I'm wanting them to do to the enemy at that point, to my enemy. I'm saying, from mine enemy, and it's going to be in the book as well as, if it's in the digital copy or the printed copy, you're going to see a letter N. N is for name. Obviously, you want to mention the person's name at that point. Okay, and then you're going to say, harming none other than, and then repeat the person's name. Okay, at this point, you allow your anger, okay, you bring your anger forth, your hatred, bring all these feelings forth, as far as you want to channel these emotions, and the demon Shaz is going to pick up on these emotions, and he's going to refine them and intensify them, and know at that point, know that Shaz is using that energy to and that potency of your anger and your hatred to cause harm to the person that you want at this point. Okay. Once you've done that, thank the demon, thank you, Shaz, and then close the book and close the ritual. Get the sigil. You want to close the sigil at that point. You don't. Okay. You're done with the ritual at that point for the first day. Now you're going to obviously repeat the ritual the second day, and then with Shaz, and then the third day with Shaz. Now, when you repeat the ritual, you want to make sure that you are performing a ritual to wield power every day you're doing for the 12 days of the Master Curse. Okay. Now I'm going to stress that a number of times during these videos. And I know it's going to be kind of repetitive, but you'll be surprised how many people actually ask, do I need to do something like that every day? And the answer is yes. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video at this point. We're going to pretend that we've done the ritual for 3 days with Shaz, and then we're going to move forward with the next demon, which is Sabnak. I'm going to go ahead and perform the ritual to wield power again. I'm not going to do a whole lot of commentary, except for a couple of parts. Again, going forward, and then we'll stop the virtual, or we'll stop the tape at that point, and then we'll do another recording with ROM, and then another recording with Glacial Ebola. So this is going to be a video cut into 4 parts. Again, just for all intents and purposes, as if we were going through the entire 12-day process. Okay, so let's stop the video, and I'm going to get a drink of water during that time, and I'll be right back. Alright everyone, this is Steve, and we are continuing our video series with the Master Curse Ritual as performed in the Magickal Attack book by Gordon Winterfield from the Gallery of Magic. This would be the second video where we will be working with the demon Sabnok from the Goetia, and I'll give you a little bit of information about that when we get to that point. In the meantime, make sure that you have your sigil here that you need to perform the ritual to wield power. Okay? And we're just going to go ahead and jump into the ritual to wield power at this point. Okay, you want to make sure that you're looking into that sigil, bringing you want to look at that sigil and look through the darkness to infinity. And then imagine the moment of your birth, taking your first breath. And once you have that feeling, imagine your last breath, your time of death. Imagine that as the life fades from you at that point. Again, I'm not trying to ask people to imagine their death. I just want you to think of these two and then correspond the two feelings. Contrast them. This is what Gordon Winterfield has actually written in his book in order for you to still yourself. And this is also part of the core ritual that follows the Kabbalistic cross and demons of magic. Okay? So just correspond those two feelings or contrast those two feelings. Let's see how that look back into the circle for a moment. Asher I am that I am. I will be what I will be. The scent of a burning rose, leaves crushed in my fingers. Blue at twilight, the taste of blood, gravel crackles underfoot, iron into spots, ice into air, flame into smoke, breath into rain. Atageboy Olam Adonai. And when you have that invocation done, look back into the sigil, look into the center and the blackness. Know that you have the power and the ability to shape the future to your desire at this point. moments, 2 or 3 moments is all you really need. You have to spend a whole lot of time doing that. And then we're going to move on to the Master Curse. Now this is going to be days 4, 5, and 6 in the Master Curse. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the sigil for Sabnok here. Sure I have that. Okay, now Sabnok is the 43rd demon in the Goetia. And in the Master Curse, when you call in Sabnok, it is asking, and when you ask Sabnok to curse your enemy, you are stating in the book and the invocation to bring illness and infestation to your enemy. Okay, that is actually one of Sabnok's powers. That he can be used for. He's also generally used to confuse somebody, to overrun their thoughts and emotions by others, and obviously make a named individual feel infested with parasites and cause itching, and to make an enemy feel exhausted. Okay, so you don't have to. Okay, you don't need to be rewriting an invocation. Try not to. Obviously, if you change too much of it, that could kind of be of a problem. I would just go along with the invocation that they have in the book at this point, and then maybe later on, after you've done it a couple times, you might want to see about changing that. Maybe to incorporate other powers that Sabnok has. Maybe to include the point of exhaustion, to your enemy, since that is, one of his powers as well. But again, that should be, for a future reference at this point. Okay. For all intents and purposes, we're just following the ritual the way it's written in the book, and we're not changing anything. And in the first part of the ritual, I did mention about the candle. Again, this has no purpose on the ritual whatsoever. It's simply here to give me a little bit more lighting in the back room here when I'm doing this ritual at. Okay. So once we have the ritual to wield power done, we want to turn to the Master Curse. And again, this is days 4, 5, and 6. I've pulled up Sabnok's sigil here, and I'm going to see if that looks a bit better. Now again, in the last ritual I pointed it out, you have the black circle here that you're going to be looking at, and then from this point in the white circle you have the invocation on the inner circle here, and then of course you have the demon's name written in Hebrew here at the top, along with the demon's sigil in the center. I don't know if you probably can't really. There we go. I'm using an incense stick for this, folks. This is my pointer. All right. Now, don't get confused with the Demons of Magic sigil. Okay, this is different than the Demons of Magic. Okay, if you look in Demons of Magic, for instance, on the inner circle here, this would be the invocation psalm for the attending angel. Okay, so don't confuse the two. Don't think that you're going to be able to use them both, one for the other, because these are a little bit different. This part, I believe, on the outside is the same, but starting here from the inside, this is different right here. All right. So try to use the appropriate sigil for the for this. Also, in Demons of Magic, when you have the constraining angels, where you have like a triangle or like a line here, on the inside of between the red sigil and the black triangle. I'm sorry, like right here. Okay, you'll see that there's nothing there. It's because there's no attending angels in this, okay? You're strictly working with the demon here at this point. Even though you are calling on angels to constrain him at this point. But we're technically not invoking them. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump into the ritual here again. Whenever you want to make sure you have the sigil in front of you anytime during this part of the ritual. Whenever you mention the demon's name, you want to make sure that you are looking at the demon's sigil when you do this, okay? You want to do this first part as you call them out for up to 5 minutes. Again, if you feel a change of pressure in the room, it becomes hot, becomes cold, you feel a presence, or there's some type of, you feel a shift somehow, or as I said in the last video, I always get like pressure here in the back of my head, or the side of my head, the left side of my brain. I know that I've made contact at that point. I don't have to continue to call them for up to 5 minutes. Once you make that contact, move forward with the rest of the ritual, okay? If you go up to 5 minutes, so and you don't feel anything, there's no pressure change or anything like that, and you're uncertain as far as, at that point, what you should do, you should always continue with the ritual as if you made contact with the demon at that point, and finish out the ritual each and every time. Okay, don't stop it and then go, this doesn't work, and slam the book shut and then walk away, because now you're just asking for a lot of trouble at that point. Just continue with the ritual, finish it up, thank the demon at that point, go about your business, come back and do it again the next day like you're supposed to. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and continue looking at the demon's sigil. Oops, sorry. Starting in the black circle, taking in all the letters in the inner circle, and looking at the black triangle with the demon's name at the top. In the names of El, Elohim, Adonai, Yeh Asher Yeh, Shaddai, and Yahweh Sabaoth, and by the power of Ivalia, and Imael, Vinod Magickal and Magickal, I call on thee, Samdar, bring infestation and illness to mine enemy, calling none other than. And again, remind yourself why you're wanting to curse this person. Bring that feeling, that hatred, that anger, bring it all forward. Allow it to fill you up. And And then once you have that emotion and all the emotion built up, it's going to be channeled and refined and intensified by Savnot, who will use that energy to poison your enemy and cause them spite in their lives. Or life, I should say. And then once you have that done, again, close the book, put the sigil away, and you're done with that part of the ritual. Okay. Now again, this is, we were just doing the second part of the Master Curse with the Demon Savnak, days 4, 5, and 6. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video at this point, grab a little bit more water, and then we're going to go back. At this point, I'm not going to do much commentary at this point, other than talking about which demon that we're dealing with and what their general powers or uses are for. Okay, so I will go ahead and stop the video, and then when we restart, I will be doing the ritual to wield power again, followed by the Master Curse with the Demon Ram, and this would be for days 7, 8, and 9. Again, just for purposes of the demonstration, I am performing the ritual to wield power each and every time, because you do have to perform that ritual each and every day before you get into the Master Curse. Okay, so for demonstration purposes, that's why I'm repeating it each and every time. So let me go ahead and stop the video, and I'll be right back, and we'll start back up with the third segment. Alright, evening folks, so this is going to be the third part of the video for performing the Master Curse as described in the Magickal Attack book by Gordon Winterfield, the Gallery of Magic. Do make sure that you have the appropriate sigil in front of you. We are going to be starting off with the ritual to wield power, and then going into the third part of the Master Curse as if we were performing it for days 7, 8, and 9. Okay? There's going to be just very little commentary up to this point for the remainder of the next two parts of the video, just in order to kind of keep it short at that point. Okay, so with that, we're going to go ahead and get into the video here. As soon as I get a drink of water. And just again, as I mentioned, in case if you've forgotten, the candle on the altar has nothing to do with the particular ritual. It's just to provide me with a little more light for me to read from my book. I am that I am. I will be what I will be. The scent of a burning rose keeps crossing my fingers. Blue rose twilight. The taste of blood. Gravel crackles underfoot. Iron into sparks. Ice into air. Flame into smoke. Breath into rain. I'll talk you for your own lam, Adonai. up the sigil for Demon Rom. Now, I've already pointed out in the first two videos the difference in the sigil here and the Master Curse as opposed to the Demons of Magickal. Okay, try not to, don't think that you could go ahead and interchange them. At least I wouldn't at this point. If you want to go ahead and try that maybe at a later date, if that's what you like to experiment with, that's totally fine. We are using the book the way that it is. We are using it the way it is described though. In this part, day 7, 8, and 9, we're going to be calling on the Demon Rom to destroy the honor and home of our enemies. Rom in the Goetia is the 40th demon. And he is called to cause a named individual to suffer great loss. The less specific you are, the better it works. This can obviously be for a number of things. It can be personal, financial, whatever. And yes, the less specific you are, the better that better results you generally end up having when you're cursing your enemy. He is also called on to cause a named individual to be mistrusted and loathed by friends, colleagues, and family, as well as to cause a named individual home life to be disrupted by arguments and mistrust, and a couple other reasons why he might be used. Again, we're just using the book the way that it's written. If you want to go ahead and maybe alter that at a later date to see if you don't get like better results, then that's fine. If you want to try to incorporate some of the other powers and abilities into the Master Curse. Again, I normally do encourage experimentation. You know, after a point, once you've done a ritual and you understand it and you performed it a number of times, yes, you know, experimentation is, you know, it's fine at that point. That's the way that that's one way that we progress as magicians, sorcerers and whatnot, as witches, you know, and it's another way that we help make the magical system that we practice, you know, our own. Okay, so I do encourage experimentation, but for right now, we're just going to use the ritual as described in the book. Right, so continuing on, you have the demon sigil in front of you, and you start calling them, making sure that you are looking at their sigil. And you do, of course, make sure that you're following the format. You look at the black circle first and bring in the invocation chant there. In the inner circle, and looking at the demon's sigil in the black triangle. In the names of Elohim, Adonai, Yeh, and Zachariah, I call on thee, wrong, to destroy the honor and home of my enemy. I mean none other than once you bring that energy forward, those emotions, all that demon realm, will take that and use it to shatter the security and the home life of your enemy. Close the book, remove the sigil from your sight, and the ritual is done at that point for the 7th day. Okay. Now obviously, if we had just finished it for the 7th day, we need to go ahead and do days 8 and 9 as well, again, which are followed through with Ram again. And again, make sure that you are performing the ritual to wield power on each of those days as well. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and stop the video really quick. And then I will start the video back up as if we are completing the Master Curse starting with day 10, and then obviously that will be the end of the video once that segment's done. I don't believe we're going to have very many more commentaries to make during the video at that time, but we'll go ahead and see, and I'll be right back, folks, in just a moment. Right, evening. We are continuing our demonstration ritual this evening, folks, with the Master Curse as presented in the book Magickal Attack by Gordon Winterfield with the Gallery of Magic. In this segment, we are performing the final part of the Master Curse as if you were performing it for days 10, 8, and 9. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump into the ritual to wield power, and then into the Master Curse for days 10, 11, and 12. Okay. I am that I am. I will be what I will be. The sins of a burning rose, leaves crushed in my fingers. The blue of twilight, the taste of blood. Gravel crackles underfoot. Iron into sparks, bloody sins you wear, flame into smoke, breath into rain. Otaye born olam Adonai. Make sure that you pull up the sigil for Glacial Bolus. It's going to be the demon that we are using for days 10, 11, and 12 in the Master Curse. And Glacial Bolus is a Goetic demon, the 25th demon in the book. Now, when we are doing the invocation chant and we are calling upon Glacia Lobolis, we are calling her to bring blood. Hey, some refer to Glacia as a female and some refer to it as a male. I generally say female, but to bring bloodshed and the death of friendship to your enemy. Okay. Amongst other things that Glacia can be used for is to cause a named individual to become unwell and cause a named individual to be attacked by another named individual and to make a named individual suffer loneliness and being shunned by strangers. Okay. Again, in the book, we're just following the invocation with the way that the book is written. Again, as I said in the previous part of the video, if you want to go ahead and alter the invocation just a little bit to perhaps add other powers and abilities that are known to Glacia, in order to add effects to the curse, you could go ahead and do that. Again, as always, I recommend that you try to use the ritual as is in the book at least a couple times to get an understanding of it, and then by all means experiment at that point and see if you get better results or worse results. So, and with that, we're just going to jump into day 10 of the ritual and get everything finished up here. In the names of El, Elohim, Adonai, Yeshua, Shaddai, and Yahweh Zavad, and by the power of Nethayah, Umiel, Tatichael, and Haniel, I call on thee, Glacia Lobolis, to bring bloodshed and death and friendship to mine enemy, only none other than mine enemy. And at that point, again, you're bringing all that emotion in, the anger, the hate, the frustration, and then you give that over to the demon, allow them to take that, refine it, intensify it, channel it, and they will use that energy to harm your enemy at that point. Okay. Now, if you're doing days 10 and 11, this would normally be the end of the ritual at that point. However, on day 12, when you finish this for the final time, okay, you want to bring a sense of pleasure knowing that your enemy is being taken care of at this point, okay? Just understand that the enemy that you use this master curse on, their problems, they're going to find out that their problems are much greater now than what they were before, okay? And anything that may come up with, that you may experience between yourself and this individual, I mean, just think of those as like very small and just petty issues from this point, because they're trying to deal with shit that's far, far worse in their life now, and you should just pretty much just go on at that point and be done with it. You don't need to worry about that person anymore. However, I will say a word of warning at this point too, that if you do end up using something like this on somebody, understand too that depending on the type of person and what their mentality is, that person may feel like they have nothing left to lose at this point, so they could just go like batshit crazy. All right, so usually the best thing to do when you're out and you're cursing somebody, you want to stay away from that person as much as possible. And if you have loved ones that hang around that person, you want to tell them, stay far away as possible, okay? Because when shit hits the fan, shit is going to hit. It's going to hit far. It's going to spread wide. And it can be very bad in a lot of cases. So if you do a curse on somebody, know that, be firm that you want to do it to begin with, okay? If you don't, if you've thought about it and you're uncertain at that point, then don't do it. Because, you don't, the worst thing to do is you find out, at the end, now you feel sorry for cursing them, and then that just causes a whole mess of shit to happen to you as well, okay? Don't feel guilty about it. If you're going to curse somebody, curse them and be done with it and forget about them. But make sure you stay far away from them, and make sure you tell anybody especially loved ones that may hang around them, to stay far away. Just tell them don't accept anything from them. Don't accept car rides, or don't let them go to functions with them or whatever, because you don't know when or how shit is going to happen at that point. So I just want to give you that fair warning at that point, at the end of all this, okay? So at the end of day 12, you just wallow in that pleasure. You think of how much, don't think of how it's going to happen. Just know that they're having so much shit happening in their lives right now, from their family falling apart, their friends leaving them, they've lost security, they've lost their security, they probably don't have a home anymore, or they may not have a home anymore. They're confused, or they're probably not aware of what's happening. They have so much anxiety, they don't really have a grasp on what's happening probably at this point. They could be having like panic attacks, nervous breakdowns, whatever. Just so many things happening to them. You don't want to think of how it's going to happen. You just want to think of that it's going to happen, okay? Or that it has happened, actually. Not that it's going to happen, that it has happened. Let me correct myself there. All right. And just thank all the demons for that. Thank each and every one of them for helping you up to that point and being grateful for their assistance. Okay, and then once you have that feeling that you let it go and you're done. Okay, and that's at the end of day 12. Okay, once you're done, again, don't worry about that person anymore. So that's a walkthrough demonstration of the Master Curse as presented by Gordon Winterfield in his book Magickal Attack, okay, by the Gallery of Magic. If you do have any questions, folks, concerning this walkthrough or the demonstration, please leave them in the comment section down below, and I will be seeing you in the next video. Until then, make sure you tell your family how much you love them, give your kids a hug, love them every night, tell them how much they mean to you, and with that, folks, take care, infernal blessings, and have a great time. Bye.